RJ's got the right stuff at Fonda. The Jeffer is hanging tough on the hard clay. Dipple goes to the front step by step at the Valley. This show's no new kid on the block. Race Pro Weekly, here we go. Hello and welcome to another edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. Last week at Lebanon Valley, Andy Bacchetti took home his first win of the 2016 season. Would it be time for someone else to reach victory lane now? Jocelyn Jones bringing us the national anthem before we got started with the 30-lap modified feature event. Paul Gilardi and Brian Berger lead the field to the green up into the east end of the speedway for the first time as Paul Gilardi slides down in front of Berger to take the early advantage. Andy Bacchetti trying to work on the top side. Look at the move by Kyle Armstrong in the middle to crack the top five as he would be going in the early portion of this feature event. Chad Jezio working to the inside along with the 1T of Tyler Dipple down the back straightaway as Dipple would go to the inside of Huff. Caution will come out for the 55 of Mike Keeler with some right front damage and a little bit of bumper damage as well. And off the restart, things got wild as Andy Bacchetti looking to go back-to-back with power to the outside and take the race lead away early in this 30-lap modified feature. But the cream was starting to rise to the top behind him as Kyle Armstrong worked on the back bumper of Brian Berger. He would then have to deal with the 1T of Tyler Dipple, though, as he's already cracked the top five with Kenny Tremont right behind him. Here's Dipple to the inside, working on Berger. He would get by for the number 3 spot, then go to work on Paul Gilardi. He'd grab him off of turn number 2 and take the number 2 spot away down the back straightaway and set his sights on the wild child, Andy Bacchetti. Meanwhile, Keith Flack and Chad Jezio make contact coming down the front straightaway as the Ravenna Rocket looking to battle back from a third-place finish a couple weeks ago to keep the momentum rolling. As now the top three, Bacchetti, Dipple, and Tremont run right together, and then Dipple gets some power on the top side. He'd take the race lead away the long way around off of turn number 2, and he would be gone with a half a straightaway advantage right away as Bacchetti looking to take control and hold on to that number 2 spot. Brett Hearn working hard to the inside, looking to crack the top 5 and get by the 74 of J.R. Hefner as he worked his way up into the east end. As Bacchetti ground pounding it down the back straightaway to try and catch Dipple, but they weren't getting him on this one as Dipple shatters the youngest ever to win the modified feature record at 16 years old, picking up his first career win at the Valley. Second would be Bacchetti, a strong first and a second in back-to-back weeks. Tremont will come in third, giving him a first, third, and third to start the season. Brett Hearn would finish in fourth, and Brian Berger would round out the top 5. Ronnie Johnson picked up a fan-favored victory last week at the Track of Champions. Would he be able to do it again? Ray Del Mata pacing the field in the 643 on Ray Del Mata Tribute Night. Of course, best known for winning the championship without winning a race. Green flag had come out on the speedway. The 76 of Alton Palmer would lead the field up into turn number 1 and 2, and the car on the move, the 1RJ of Ronnie Johnson. He'd move to the inside of the 18B machine, looking to crack the top 5 early in this feature event as he would do so. As the car on the move right behind him, the 21J of Jeff Trombley, as well as he would follow him right to the front in this feature event. The Dr. Danny Johnson there along with Josh Owen forces Jeremy Wilder goes around up in turn number 2. As Darwin Green now trying to come back from last week when he had a tough mishap while leading the race. Another car on the move, the 00 of Bobby Varon as he get by Cody Bellinger as the caution will come out for Scott Huber just outside the Cow Palace. Off the restart, it will be Alton Palmer reclaiming the throne at the front of the field, but Ronnie Johnson was on the move as he was on the back bumper of him as they go up into turn number 1 and 2. Ronnie Johnson going to try to make it stick, and he does. He'd be your new race leader as they head down the back straightaway. 6 of Home Force in there, along with the 3G of Gleason and the 24 of Jeremy Wilder, trying to battle back from the early mishap. Bobby Varon working into the top 5 now as he moves to the inside of Craig Hansen, looking to take that spot away. Right behind Alton Palmer and Jeff Trombley, who has now moved up into the number 2 spot. The 6H of Hohen Force now fighting on the back bumper of Hansen as Varon looks to get into spot number 3 in front of the 76 of Palmer, and he does off the corner, and now Hohen Force looking to follow him as he shifts to the outside lane off of turn number 4, turning it wide, and he would do that by getting by him as well. Varon now trying to run down the 21J of Trombley as the caution came out for a car slowing down on the backstretch. Off of the restart, it would be the 1RJ of Ronnie Johnson back with the race lead as Varon works on Trombley for the number 2 spot, trying to catch him, but he wouldn't as RJ goes back-to-back at the Track of Champions. Jeff Trombley would finish in the number 2 spot, Bobby Varon would hold on for 3rd, Josh Hohen Force 4th, and Jeremy Wilder would round out the top 5. It's now time for our Kaiser Aluminum Wheels fan poll question, and this week's question is, what makes for better racing? Higher speeds or slower speeds with side-by-side racing? Just head to our Facebook page and cast your answer, and we'll give you the results on next week's show. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly, we'll feature a track on our show for the first time, and we'll return to the Fulton Speedway as they had their regular season opener for the Modifieds.
If you're like me, your to-do list never ends. But with just one phone call, I protect my home, family, pets, and yard all year round. With Northeast Pest Control's Premier Home Protection Program, I don't have to worry about bugs and pests, and I don't have to worry about harsh chemicals either. Now how about that want to-do list? Thanks, Northeast Pest Control.
Ants, termites, mice, or bees, call today for your free estimate.
With Northeast Pest Control, we guarantee you'll live pest-free.
Reputable, reliable, results. That's what you get when you call Rick and the professionals at RCT Roofing. Quality service at fair prices. RCT gets the job done. Just like Nick Stone and the RCT Pro Stock. RCT Roofing, we've got you covered. There's only one place in the Capital Region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. Jeff Hetzler and Jesse Klein would lead the field to the green in this 30-lap modified feature event down on the hard clay as Hetzler would take the early lead with Chris Schultz sliding into the number 2 spot. Cars on the move in the early portion of the event as Mike Ruggiero working to the inside lane off at turn number 3 and 4. LJ Lombardo, Chris Whitehead looking to work their way up along with Jerry Higbee as well. As Higbee having a little contact down the front straightaway, and don't forget the 44 is Stuart Friesen looking to work his way up through the field. Caution will come out as Higbee, John Ferrier, and Billy Van Inwagen come together up in turn number 3 and 4. That'll leave Van Inwagen. And off the restart, LJ Lombardo trying to work his way up through the field. There's Chris Whitehead and Stuart Friesen looking to move up as well as they head down the back straightaway. As cars make their way off of the corner, keep an eye on Jesse Klein and the 10 of Richie Urich fighting for position. As meanwhile, down the back straightaway, Brandon Findlay comes into a contact with the 244 of Chris Whitehead, and that would bring out the caution down on the back straightaway once again. Off the restart, Mike Kolka looking to work his way up, along with the 3 of LJ Lombardo and the 17 of Matt Janiak up into turn number 1 and 2 as Stuart Friesen would slow in turn number 3 and 4, bringing out some trouble for the driver out of Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada, as he would have trouble coming through the corner. Off the restart, it would be Chris Schultz sweeping to the high side. He'd be your new race leader. Hetzler still second. Horton third as here comes LJ Lombardo on the outside of Mike Ruggiero looking for the spot. Then he'd work on Hollywood Craig Mitchell coming down the front straightaway as well as they work their way up into turn number 1 and 2. He'd get him down the back straightaway in the number 3 machine. Caution would come out, then off the restart, the 14 of Jeff Hetzler would go back to the front of the field in this one as he would get the race lead back and keep an eye on Lombardo now still working to get by Richie Urich for position through turn number 3 and 4 once again. They'd swing around Mike Kolka on the outside lane as Kolka now actually looking to the inside to get Lombardo back, but this is all behind Jeff Hetzler for the 50th time picking up the win in Orange County. The Jeffer grabs the win. Chris Schultz to finish in second, Jimmy Horton third, Richie Urich fourth, and Craig Mitchell would work his way back into the top 5. This week on Race Pro Weekly, we're going to feature a new speedway as we head to Chapman's Can-Am Speedway and Motorsports Park. Let's head to the action of the small block modifieds with a headline division on the card. The nasty track of north, Chapman's Can-Am Speedway and Motorsports Park, as you see a beautiful view of the in-car camera from Taylor Caprara. As it would be Billy Dunn and Bobby Harrington leading the field to the green in this feature event. This is Ryan Bartlett would work his way down the back straightaway along with the 9J of Jordan McCready back there as well. As Dunn would have the early race lead in this feature event as he would smoothly go through turn number 1 and 2 with Harrington right there in tow and Jordan McCready on the move as well. Luke Whitaker and Danny O'Brien working their way down the back straightaway as McCready continuing to push his way up through the field as he would get by Ryan Bartlett for position now, barreling up into the corner. As now he'd go to work on Bobby Harrington as well as Jordan McCready with a very fast hot rod. Of course, McCready named no stranger to Central New York as Harrington gets back by him, however, as Bobby Harrington looking to try to run down Billy Dunn, who was continuing to set a blistering pace as Danny O'Brien continued to work on the inside lane to try to get up through the field. Meanwhile, Harrington trying to hold off Ryan Bartlett this time as they come off at turn number 4 as Bartlett with a strong run on the outside, drag racing down the front stretch as Riley Gill working his way up as well in the 57 machine as he tried to crack the top 5 in this one. As now Danny O'Brien catching the back bumper of the 9J of Jordan McCready working to the outside as McCready started to fade a little bit towards the closing stages of this one. He worked to the inside of Bartlett, however, as he continued to try to push through the field. McCready holding on to the spot in front of Danny O'Brien, now going to work on Bartlett again to the inside as McCready doing a strong job up front here trying to run down your race leaders. But, however, Bartlett holding him up as Bartlett with a great move to try to keep it on the top side. But eventually, McCready would get by, and then Danny O'Brien would pull an electric slide job down the front straightaway as he would get by McCready and now try to set his sights on running down Billy Dunn, who was way too far gone in this one as he would pick up the win at Can-Am. Bobby Harrington would finish in second, Danny O'Brien third, Jordan McCready fourth, and Luke Whitaker would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, it would be Dylan Eboy in the Sportsman. Novice Sportsman would go to Hunter Schwander. Sid Harmer Jr. in the Pro Street Stock. Derek Ellsworth in the Mod Lights. And the Thunder Car would go to Phil DeSormo III. To the Fulton Speedway we go now as it would be Tyler Thompson passing Richie Riggs on the final lap to take home the win. But Riggs would get it as Thompson was light in the Novice Sportsman division. Modified feature would see Billy Whitaker and Lightning Larry White up on the front of the field in this one as they power up into the high banks in turn number 1 and 2 with Kid Lightning picking up where he left off a week ago, dusting off the cushion in this one here in this 35-lap feature event. Lo and behold, though, here comes the 98 of Jimmy Phelps working to the inside lane, seeing if he's got something for the 99L, and that time White goes a little bit too high, but the 98H going to power underneath, and Phelps would be your new race leader in this one. Phelps holding on to the lead as Pat Ward would crack the top 5 for the first time. Ryan Phelps trying to follow behind him as the 07 of Tim Kerr in there as well as they get by Whitaker. As now the Genoa Giant and Kerr going to continue to go side by side in this feature event off the corner with Tim Kerr having the advantage. Check out this battle for the lead, though, as here comes Lightning Larry on the outside trying to get the 98 of Phelps back, but Phelps very strong. This time, Phelps going to switch lanes, move to the middle of the speedway. White going to stay in the middle as well. One last shot to the top side, not going to be enough. Jimmy Phelps going to grab the opening night win at Fulton. Larry White having to settle for second, but a great battle between the two of them. Tom Sears Jr. would finish in third, Tim Kerr fourth, and Pat Ward would finish in fifth. Other winners on the night, Todd Root would grab the win in the Sportsman. Late model will go to Chris Fleming. Dakota Beckler in the 4 cylinders, and in the Novice Sportsman, as you saw before, Richie Riggs grabbing the win. When we come back, we'll head to the Merrittville Speedway to see if we'll get our third different winner. And we go back to the high banks where it was opening night for the small blocks. All that and more coming up on Race Pro Weekly.
I'm Brian from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is my main man, Tom, and my other main man, Tom.
You never know how much junk you've got until you move.
Point to something you wish would disappear.
Would it be possible to... It's gone!
All you have to do is point.
Where have you been all my life?
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products. Race to win.
Looking for outstanding service for your car, truck, or SUV? Speed's Garage is a family-run business providing the highest quality of auto care. From routine maintenance, brakes, engine, body, or paint work, you can trust the professionals at Speed's Garage. Speed's Garage has all the auto service you need, plus full towing for any vehicle. For championship service, go to Speed's Garage in Mellonville.
Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. Tim Jones and Scott Wood would lead the field to the green for the 30-lap small block modified feature event up at the Merrittville Speedway as Jones would take the early race lead away. Here's Wood working on the outside. Fast Freddie Carlton underneath. There's Bill Bleach in the 108 as well, along with Brian Susi trying to make their way up through the field. Keep an eye on Bill Bleach and Mike Bowman as Bleach working to the outside lane, but before that could result in any momentum, Bleach would be sent into the outside wall, a tough break for the 108 machine. Off the restart, Jones would take control once again. Carlton to the inside. Wood side by side looking for the number 2 spot as Scott Wood would take that away as Tim Jones trying to hold on with Wood bearing down on him up on the top side. Carlton and Bowman in there as well as Bowman looking for win number 2 on the season. Meanwhile, here's the 15 of Jones having to hold off the power from Scott Wood on the outside lane as the 38 machine goes right by him down the back straightaway into turn number 3 and 4. Jones still working on the inside. Susi right there as well, and enter in Mr. Small Block as Pete Bicknell looking to crack the top 5 as that time Jones bobbles a little bit. That allows Mike Bowman to get by for the number 2 spot as the caution would then come out for Chad Brockman. Off the restart, Mike Bowman would work to the outside and he would be your new race leader off at turn number 2 as he drag race down the back straightaway. And what a battle behind him, 3 wide for the number 2 spot between Jones, Susi, and Wood, with Bicknell lurking right behind them as well. And before you knew it, Bicknell would be working the inside lane, and he'd take the number 2 spot away and set his sights on your race leader, Mike Bowman, here as we headed towards the closing stages. Carlton, Jones, and the 777 of Tyler McPherson in a fierce battle through turn number 3 and 4. As they're in there, as Jones still trying to hold off the 38 of Susi for position down the back straightaway, but Susi with a great run working to the top side, dusting off the cushion a little bit more as Tommy Flanagan enters into the picture along with Chris Steele as well. Back to the race for the lead, however, the 71 of Bowman holding on by about 4 car lengths as Bicknell giving him everything but the kitchen sink to try to get by him. That time Bicknell would slide up on the inside lane. Would he have him at the line? No, Bowman still just a little too strong. But the next time through, Bicknell going to slide up in front of him off at turn number 2. He'd get by him, but leaves the door open for Bowman back on the inside lane. And Mike Bowman at the line would continue to lead this race and slide back in front of Bicknell. And you weren't catching him this time as Mike Bowman grabs win number 2 on the season at Merrittville. Bicknell would have to settle for second. Tim Jones would finish in third. Tyler McPherson would finish in fourth. And Chris Steele would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Brad Rouse would grab the win again in the Sportsman. Novice Sportsman goes to Chris Waters. Mark Fawcett in the Hoosier Stocks. Paul Klager in the Mod Lights. And Kyle Rothwell picking up the win in the 4 cylinders. Small block modified feature at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. A little bit of an incident in the heat race as Robbie Pitcher, Brett Haas, and Olden Dwyer come together down the back straightaway. Dwyer would regroup and get to start the feature event. However, as the green flag would drop down the front straightaway with the 5 of Kim Lavoie leading the field to the green as they head down the back straightaway for the first time with the 111 of Demetrius Drelos in tow. J.R. Hefner right there as well as they work their way through the west end. Jason Harrington would get caught up on the inside a little bit too hard as he would spin around through turn number 1 and 2 with a gaggle of cars behind him. Brian Sandstead, Alan Hotailing, Buddy Hankey involved as well, along with the 25 of Frankie Harper. Off of the restart as they drag race down into turn number 1 and 2, Demetrius Drelos would make the pass for the race lead in the east end as they go up off the corner. Lavoie holding on to the number 2 spot strong as J.R. Hefner right on her back bumper. And you know J.R. Hefner with a lot of laps around this Valley Oval would work to the inside. And now Kenny Tremont working to the inside of Brett Haas looking to crack the top 5 here in the early going. Hefner would slide to the inside of the 5 of Lavoie and take the number 2 spot away down the front stretch As Lavoie holding on is now Kenny Tremont looking to work by Elmo Reckner for position as he sits in the number 5 spot. As now Brett Haas working to the inside of Hefner for the number 2 spot through heavy lap traffic, as the yellow will come out for the 115 of Kenny Tremont as he lost oil pressure on that machine, and that's why he was a retiree from the event. Off the restart, that would put Hefner on the back bumper of Drelos once again as cars tried to file through the field. Ryan Darcy, Peter Carlotto on the move down the back straightaway, and Jason Harrington coming back as well on the inside lane, trying to battle back from his early mishap. Harrington would work on the 12C of Carlotto down into the west end of the speedway as he'd slide up in front of him and take that spot away. Kim Lavoie looking to hold off Elmo Reckner for that number 4 spot down the back straightaway, but it would all be behind Demetrius Drelos, who would pick up his 2nd career win in the small blocks at the Valley. J.R. Hefner would finish in 2nd, Brett Haas would come home in 3rd, Kim Lavoie 4th, and Elmo Reckner would finish in 5th. Other winners on the night, Paul LaRochelle goes wire to wire to win the Pro Stock feature. Pure Stock number 1 would go to Jeff Meltz Sr., Pure Stock number 2 to Brian Walsh, Pure Stock number 3 to Ray Hall Sr., Pure Stock Clash from Boomer's Performance would go to Jeff Meltz Jr., Brandon Ely would take the win in the single cam, and Kenny Stager would grab the win in the 4-cylinder dual cam feature event. Show you the highlights from the Street Stock feature event. First is Josh Coonrad would pick up his 3rd straight win, going 3 for 3 on the season as he would head to checkerboard square once again. Sportsman feature now, it would be the 35 of Chris Curtis leading the field to the green as they go up into turn number 1 and 2 with Adam McAuliffe in tow right behind him as they head down the back straightaway, and Johnny the Blade McAuliffe going to look to make his presence known as he would slide into the number 3 spot. He would get to 2nd, though, as Tim Hartman Jr. all the way up on the grid, making his way up through the field as you see McAuliffe take the race lead on the outside lane of the 35 of Curtis off the corner, and he would be your new race leader just 5 laps into the event. Meanwhile, here's Hartman on the outside lane, working to the outside of the 14 of Chad Edwards down the back straightaway. As Hartman looking to crack the top 5 in this one, he would eventually get there. Rocky Warner in the 13th position, running strong with the 7-11 of Jamaica Soul. He'd be going a lot further up before this one was all said and done, to say the least. And I'll show you exactly how that happened. Take a look at the car with the light on it. That's Rocky coming down the front straightaway, passing a number of cars. And meanwhile, while that happens, the 234 of McAuliffe moves into spot number 2. And now Hartman, as I mentioned before, moves into the top 5. Hartman would work underneath the 18 of Tony Ferrone. They make contact down the front straightaway. He'd take 4th and then get around Chris Curtis for the number 3 spot as he would chase the 2 McAuliffes, looking for the runner-up and the lead. But then Rocky Warner would make his presence known here towards the back half of the feature event as he would crack the top 5, then move into spot number 3, getting by Tim Hartman, and then go to work on the 234 of Adam McAuliffe down the back straightaway. However, the 1J would have some trouble in this one as he would slow down the backstretch, and that was all John McAuliffe needed to keep the momentum rolling as the Blade picks up the win at the Fonda Speedway, his first of 2016. Second is Adam McAuliffe, 3rd Tim Hartman Jr., 4th Tony Ferrone, and Connor Cleveland to round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Kenny Gates would grab the win in the Pro Stocks, Rookie Sportsman would go to Rob Lanphier, and Josh Coonrad would grab the win in the Street Stocks. Coming up, we'll show you some Winged Warrior action as the CRSA Sprints take on the hard clay, and we'll catch up with a former Pro Stock driver turned open wheel star. That's all coming up when we return on RPW.
Out here, seconds mean everything. That's why, in here, we work so hard to shave them. When a second matters, science matters. Mobil 1, energy lives here.
Where is it that going green is going strong? Where trees are planted so emissions can be cut down. Where clean ethanol blend fuels race cars and waste oil never goes to waste. Where is it that the sun comes up and we put it to work, and the passionate fans are just as passionate about helping out? Where? Nowhere but NASCAR. Learn what small steps you can take to make a big difference at NASCAR.com/green.
If you are a tracker series that would like to be highlighted on Race Pro Weekly, email us at show@raceproweekly.com. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. Christian Rumsey going to lead the field to the green for the feature event for the CRSA Sprint as he brings it up into turn number 1 and 2, and down the back straightaway they ride into turn number 3 and 4. Cars on the move in this one in the early going as Rumsey looks to hold on, but Ed Strada would work to the outside. He'd be your race leader right away as he pushed up through the corner. Bobby Hackle in the 24 machine looking to try to chase down the 17 of Kyle Smith down the front straightaway as they would work their way up through the field in the early going. Of course, Smith picking up the win out at the Fonda Speedway. 41J of Josh Flint working his way up through the field as well as he barrels through turn number 3 and 4. Estrada way out in front of this one at the halfway point of this feature event. Then Brian Crummell would find some speed as he would get to the outside of Scott Goodrich for a position, then go to work on Rumsey looking to take the number 2 spot off at turn number 2. He would do that and look to set his sights on Strada for the victory. However, as you'll see in a second, BK Speed slowing down off the pace a little bit as Rumsey goes by him on the outside lane once again. They drag race down the front straightaway now as here's Scott Flammer looking to make a move around Scott Goodrich for a position as they head down the backstretch as Flammer would get him heading into turn number 3 and 4, but they weren't catching Strada as he would grab the victory. Ed Strada picks up the win. Christian Rumsey would finish in second. Brian Crummell third. Scott Flammer fourth. And Scott Goodrich would finish in fifth. 358 modifieds would go to Gary Edwards Jr., Sportsman to Chris Stevens, and Jim Mayer would pick up the win in the street stocks. The former Pro Stock high-end team, Joey Ladasor, is now moving up to the small block modifieds here for the 2016 season as he makes his maiden voyage in that division.
Through the gates, what kind of memories come to mind?
Oh, Can-Am's always been special for our family. I mean, from the late model days to when we used to run the modified here with the Marcinko sponsorship and whatnot. No, it's you know, it's maybe not the same for everybody. For us, it's always going to be a special place.
So what do you got on tap for this year? Where are you going to be rooting for?
Plan right now is I'll be running the car on Sunday nights at Carnival, and we're going to take a run at Rookie of the Year for the small block tour and hit up some other races here and there if we can, you know, like anything we have to do for the regional points and that kind of stuff. And Billy's going to be running the car on Friday nights for us at Mohawk.
What's the biggest difference between sportsman and modified?
Well, basically it's the horsepower. I mean, it's I was able to take the car out a few weeks ago here, and it's almost twice the horsepower, you know. So I mean, there's certain track conditions you can really take advantage of it, and other track conditions you can't. It almost makes it harder to drive just because it's you think you'd be faster, but you have to control that animal there. So it's going to be a handful.
What's it been like having Billy Dunn as a part of your team?
Well, when we brought Billy on, it was to help us sort out our stuff for my dad's team, and it's helped me. I had the success I had in Sportsman, I think, in big part because Billy was on our side, and so I look up to him as a mentor, even though I'm a little older than him. I guess he's my he's part of the family now, you know. So he's a good kid. They're a good family, and we're just real glad to be associated with him.
Any plans for your dad to run here or there, or just?
I think we'd like to have Dad come out a few times. He had shoulder surgery this winter, so he's still recovering a bit like that. But I think he could drive it with one hand anyway. So I think we'll make a point in coming out and shaking it down with him.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and the driver who went back-to-back at Fonda Speedway is this week's recipient, as it goes to RJ Ronnie Johnson. Ronnie is now eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online at www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So for myself, Bobby Chalmers, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.